Good people, today I want to show you how we are doing brooding, how we are brooding day-old chicks. Sasu F1. So this is the brooder. This is how brooder looks like. As the whole floor is covered with wood shavings. So all I had to do to come up with a brooder was to make this, to cut this plywood into two and make it circular. This one why the brooder is circular is to avoid having corners, because when you have corners in the brooder, the chicks will pile up like this one. See this one? They are trying to pile up there. This one are piling up there because they are trying to look for heat. It's daytime. I don't want to add charcoal to the stove because I will have more heat. I don't want that. So the brooder is circular to avoid such incidents. So inside the brooder, as you can see, before they were brought, I prepared the brooder. I cut this plywood into halves. Then I placed it strategically. Then I made something that looks like a peg. This one to hold onto the joint. I did that all around, as you can see. Then I placed the newspaper on the floor on top of the wood shavings, because these chicks are still young. They are day old. This is the first time they are interacting with the outside environment. This is the first time they're interacting with things like the wood shavings, so they can eat these things. Though they can't eat it religiously, but they can accidentally peck and eat. So to avoid that, we cover the sawdust with the wood shavings with the newspaper, gazette. Or you can also use manila paper to cover the floor of the brooder. You can also use a gunny bag. You can cut gunny bag into two, or you can use a gunny bag instead. Gunny bag is those bags that are lying there. Those ones are carrying wood shavings. You can use gunny bag to place on the ground. First thing to do when they arrive, the general practice for brooding chicks, day-old chicks, is to once the brooder is ready, you should put water inside the brooder before the chicks arrive. So because when they arrive, chances are they are going to be thirsty. The best practice is to start with water, and that water should have glucose. For glucose, I used this. I used chick start glucose. This chick start gives them energy required, because these are day-old chicks. They've never eaten anything. They've never drank water, so this thing is going to give them energy they need for the task ahead, which include eating and drinking water. So I gave them that chick start. We mix it with water. You should mix around 3 tablespoons. Should go to 6 liters. Yes, yeah. So you give them the glucose to give the energy to enable them eat and drink water. Then after 1 hour, you should give them feeds. In my case, I'm using starter crumbs. Starter crumbs is good for day old chicks because it helps them put weight very fast and give them a good foundation. And that way they'll be able to grow very fast with a good put on good muscle. Then after giving them the feeds, oh, I was forgetting. Depending on the time you are bringing your chicks to the house, if it is early in the morning, or if they arrive at night, or if they arrive on a very cold day, make sure that you have your source of heat ready in the brooder before they arrive. In our case, we are using this charcoal stove. You can also use those bulbs that are used for brooding, those bulbs that provide light and heat. So when it's cold day, make sure that the house is heated before they come, so that when they arrive, they don't get stressed out with the new environment that they are interacting with. Yes. So in our case, ours were delivered towards midday, and yeah, the temperature was okay, so there was no need of putting stove. So what we did, just give them water and feeds, and the feeds we were just spreading those feeds on the newspaper here, so that they learn how to eat. They don't know how feeds look like, they don't know what feed is, so we were spreading them there, pouring them on top of the newspaper so that they can start to learn how to eat. So ordinarily that should happen for 2 days, but from my experience the poops here are too much, and I usually don't encourage taking more than a day with those newspaper, because the poop will mix with the feeds, and they will eat the feeds and poops, and that one will give them problems, diseases. They start having diseases here, and we are trying to avoid that by all means. So after that, the night came. I prepared the stove, put the charcoal, and we provided the heat. This stove is a good one, by the way. See this stove? This one that looks like a hat, this Chinese hat. This one makes sure that the heat is spread across the brooder at this level, because the chicks are down here. So if we leave the stove uncovered, the heat will be escaping, going up. So to avoid that, we put this thing here that covers to ensure that the heat is evenly spread across the brooder. And this chimney here, this one controls the burning process of the charcoal inside. When when the charcoal is burning fast and there's too much heat, you lower this down to regulate the entry of oxygen inside the stove that facilitates combustion of charcoal to produce heat. That way the heat will reduce. And when the heat has gone too low and you want to increase it, you simply lift this. Okay, these things become hot, so you don't hold it with your hand. This is what I do. I improvise this. I use this. So I use this to lift it up this way, to lift it up, and I also use this also to return it to position. Okay, now heating is very important in brooder, because remember this, the chicks of this age ordinarily or conventionally spend time with their mother, and the mother provide them with the warmth that they need from this thing. But now this one on their own, so the mother that's available here is this heat. Okay, so to make sure that you have a successful brooding with the less casualty, if any, make sure you do the following. You see, also ensure that the chicken house, is covered with curtains to avoid the entry of wind and the cold inside. See how we covered ours? We covered everything. See? We covered everything. And now the inside here is, the temperature inside here is optimum. It's not too high, it's not too low. It's not high, it's not low. It's around 35 degrees, 35 degrees, which is required by this chicken. You can use a thermometer to measure the temperature inside the brooder. But if you don't have one, you should just measure with your body. No human being, when you come here and you feel that there's too much heat, just know the birds are also feeling the same. Another way to check if the heat is too much is to check how the birds are distributed here. If they're piling towards the corner, it means it's either there's less heat and now they're piling to get warm, or there's too much heat here, now they're running away from the stove. But when they pile like this, it can also mean they're trying to rest and they find joy in spending time close to each other. But if the heat is too much, they can't pile like this. By the way, they will spread and lie as if they are no more, but they are there. See? So that's how you check if the heat is too high or low. If the heat is low, they will pile and pile and pile. If the heat is high, they will spread across. Okay. So that's all for today. I'll be updating you on the progress of brooding from this is day 2. I'll be sharing with you the progress from today until the 30th day, when I will now leave them to roam freely. But unfortunately, these ones I'm disposing from week 3. If week 4, which is 30 days, a month, finds them here, they'll be here walking around everywhere. But I don't think they'll be here. Okay, they may be here. Market things may change, but we're not hoping to keep them beyond 4 weeks here. Okay, I'll be sharing with you everything that you need to know about brooding, so that you can also learn and start your own chicken farm. As I told you, this is a small farm, a beginner farm. Just wanted to show you that you can start small. Okay, you can start with 100, you can start with 200 birds. In our case, we started with 200 initially. We wanted to start with 500, but we realized that there's no better teacher than experience. So we decided to start with 200 to learn how this thing works. Then after disposing the first batch, now the second batch we are going to bring 500, and if things go well the way we hope they will go well, now we'll increase the number to 1,000, because this house can brood up to 1,000. Can brood up to 1,000 birds here. But to keep birds up to maturity, this house can only carry up to maximum of 300 birds. But for now, we're dealing with the chicks. We are disposing at 30 days, so we will not be keeping birds here up to maturity. But in future, I'm going to improvise this house. This side, I'm going to make some 2-story like structure, where I will be putting birds once they attain 2 months, and they will grow there. That's where we'll raise them for egg. Thank you, and stay tuned. I'll share with you more.